Good morning. As you can tell, I just woke up. After a fantastic night of sleep in my Subaru. But since you're here, I've got a whole new batch of Lonely Girl solo survival tips to help you survive alone, solo, and lonely. So you're going to want to give the impression that you're living in your vehicle and just quit your six-figure job because it was just too boring and too predictable. And you need to find yourself out in the forest. So let's go camping and find ourselves alone and solo and lonely. Stupid. So we've got pretty far to go. We're going to be hiking about 10 kilometers before we set up camp. And I've got everything I need right here for 2 weeks or so. So let's get going. So I think we're almost there. It's been quite the hike. We're pretty deep in the forest now. Not too much longer before we can set up our lonely camp. So this looks like a pretty good place to film. I mean, to camp. Some people think that it's important to find level ground to set your tent up on. But when you're surviving solo and alone and lonely, I think the most important thing about where you set your tent up is how flattering the lighting is. I think it's looking pretty good right here, so this is where the tent's gonna go. Don't forget to get a great shot of you climbing into your tent. This is also a classic time to look alone and lonely. So don't forget to get your lonely poses while you're in your tent. And don't forget to film your exit. Very important. Oh. So when you're surviving solo, it's really important to choose the right material for your clothing. So you want to choose something that's going to really accentuate your natural features and colors that are going to really pop on camera. So I think I've done a pretty good job with this outfit, but it is pretty cold. So we're going to get a fire going to warm back up again and keep our spirits high. Gathering firewood is a really good opportunity to showcase your bushcraft tools. Whether you really need them for the job or not doesn't really matter. One of the nuanced skills of surviving solo and lonely is to strike a balance between looking like an independent, badass chick, but also looking like you're just waiting for a man to come and rescue you. So I'm going to demonstrate a few different fire starting techniques that you can use in your videos when you're surviving solo and alone and lonely. We're going to start by foraging around the area for some natural materials to start our fire with. No way! I can't believe I just totally randomly, accidentally found this out in the wild. It's going to be a great fire starter. I am super hungry, but I really need these for starting my fire. Sometimes we just have to make, sometimes when you're surviving solo and alone and lonely in the wild, you need to make sacrifices. Looks like it's not showtime to die in the wild. It actually worked. Lonely Girl Survival is a lot about using items that you would never usually use to start a fire to start a fire. The final fire starting technique that I'm going to demonstrate today is to start a fire using a bow drill. Now, this is a pretty badass fire starting technique, and there's not really a lot of people who can actually pull it off. So if you can do this, you're gonna look like a true badass solo lonely girl survivor. Just make sure to balance it out with a little bit of maiden in distress when you're finished. Easy peasy. This would be a great time to spend some time looking alone and lonely. You want to give off some good, solid rescue me vibes. Damsel in distress, get me out of here, I can't do this, moment of weakness kind of stuff. Get really vulnerable. I think that that comes across really well on camera. Something that really helps me when I'm surviving solo and alone and lonely in the wild is to reconnect to myself and to nature and to my spirituality by practicing some yoga. So I'm going to realign my chakras and center my chi, and I think it's going to just help me endure as I survive alone and solo and lonely. Oh my God, there's a car. Oh. Okay. So now that I've sacrificed all of the food I found and brought to make a really cool fire starting short, I'm gonna need to forage for my dinner because I'm really hungry and I really want to survive this trip. I'm having a really good feeling about this because I just reconnected to nature and I'm feeling really inspired. So, ooh. So I'm pretty sure that these are wild strawberries, which is super lucky. I can't be totally sure, but 60% of the time, I'm right every time. And when you're surviving solo and lonely in the wild, sometimes you do need to take a risk if you want to survive. So even though I'm feeling pretty satisfied by those strawberries and pretty connected to nature, I'm also feeling really lonely. So I think I'm just gonna go to bed and dream of being rescued. And I mean, maybe I really will be rescued. I kind of hope so. But that's all the survival tips I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed them. Stay lonely out there.